This is called the Gruen Effect, and Las Vegas casino carpets might be its most extreme example. Named after Austrian architect Victor Gruen, who invented the modern shopping mall in 1956, the Gruen transfer describes that moment when confusing, maze-like design makes you forget why you came in and encourages impulse behavior. In this video, we're going to break down what these ugly, on-purpose carpets actually do to you, what's backed by research, and what's more myth than reality. Casino floors are built as environments that keep people gambling, so designers pay attention to every element: the maze-like layout, the lack of clocks, the constant sound, and the visual overload. Busy, high-energy patterns keep people visually stimulated and awake, which means tired players are less likely to feel sleepy and head back to their rooms. Those same patterns push your attention up towards slot machines and table games instead of down at the floor. To understand why casino designers care so much about something as seemingly unimportant as a carpet, you have to understand a larger principle of environmental psychology. Human beings like to believe they make decisions independently. We imagine that our choices come from conscious thought, rational planning, and personal preferences. But decades of psychological research suggest that our surroundings influence us far more than we realize. Lighting affects mood. Music affects pace. Temperature affects comfort. Even the arrangement of physical space can influence how long we stay somewhere and what decisions we make while we're there. Casinos understand this better than almost any other industry. In fact, a casino is not merely a building filled with games. It's a carefully engineered behavioral environment. Every design choice is evaluated through a single question: will this encourage guests to stay longer? Because in a casino, time is money. The longer visitors remain on the gaming floor, the greater the chance they will continue gambling, order drinks, visit restaurants, or book future stays. This is why many casinos intentionally create environments that feel detached from ordinary life. When you're walking through a city, you're constantly reminded of time. You see sunlight changing, you hear traffic, you check your phone, you pass stores opening and closing. These signals help your brain track the passage of time naturally. Inside a casino, many of those signals disappear. Windows become rare. Natural light is limited.
Clocks are often absent or difficult to find. The environment becomes a self-contained world, operating according to its own rhythm. Psychologists sometimes refer to this as temporal disorientation. Not necessarily confusion in the dramatic sense, but a weakening of the normal cues that help people monitor how long they've been somewhere. The result is subtle but powerful. 30 minutes can begin to feel like 15. 2 hours can pass without feeling especially long. And when people lose awareness of time, they often become less deliberate about their decisions. Now, add visual stimulation to that environment. Slot machines flash constantly. Screens display animations. Lights pulse from every direction. Sounds overlap from hundreds of machines at once. Coins, bells, digital jingles, and celebratory effects create an atmosphere of continuous activity. The floor itself becomes part of this sensory landscape. A plain, neutral carpet would fade into the background. A loud, colorful carpet contributes to the feeling that something exciting is happening everywhere at once. This matters because attention is limited. The human brain filters enormous amounts of information every second. Instead of drawing your eyes downward, they encourage your attention to remain focused on the machines, tables, lights, and movement around you. What's particularly interesting is that most visitors never consciously notice these influences. Ask someone why they stayed at a slot machine for an extra hour, and they're unlikely to mention carpet patterns, lighting design, or environmental cues. They'll talk about luck, entertainment, a near win, a feeling that the next spin might be different. Yet behavioral researchers have repeatedly shown that context shapes behavior, even when people aren't actively aware of it. That's what makes environmental design so effective.
It doesn't require forcing people to do anything. It simply makes certain behaviors feel more natural than others. And that's where the Gruen Effect becomes especially relevant. The goal isn't necessarily to confuse people completely. It's to create an environment so immersive, stimulating, and self-contained that their original purpose gradually fades into the background. Long before anyone on the internet argued about ugly casino carpets, casinos already used patterned floors for basic decoration and function. That changes in a big way in the 1990s, when Las Vegas resorts lean into heavy theming and full-on kitsch. Gaming historian David G. Schwartz, who directs the Center for Gaming Research at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, describes those carpets as whispering, "Gamble, gamble," just out of conscious awareness. British psychologist Mark Griffiths, who has published over 15 studies on casino design psychology, describes this as environmental conditioning.
The story really explodes online around 2010. That year, the economics blog Marginal Revolution posts an entry collecting photos of wild patterns and adds a memorable anecdote. A professor at Cornell's School of Hotel Administration heard from casino designer contacts that carpets are deliberately designed to obscure and camouflage fallen gambling chips, turning the floor into another source of revenue. By the 2020s, the conversation divides into two clear camps. On one side, a BetMGM blog post spells it out directly, saying that ugly carpets are guided by demographic and geographic research and designed to keep players awake. On the other side, a 2025 explainer from CityCast Las Vegas focuses on the practical side and directly labels the idea that carpets are created to confuse gamblers as a myth. Carpet experts point out that casinos need flooring that survives non-stop traffic, spilled drinks, cigarette ash, and constant wear. Interestingly, some high-end properties have moved away from the busy carpet approach entirely. Wynn Resorts designer Roger Thomas pioneered elegant, calming floors that make high rollers feel sophisticated rather than disoriented, proving that not all successful casino design relies on visual chaos.
The well-supported part is clear. Casino carpets are intentionally busy, colorful, and high energy, and designers use them to keep the room from feeling dull, to push attention toward the machines and tables, and to hide dirt and wear. The more extreme claims, like carpets hiding chips or scientifically scrambling your sense of direction, show up in social posts and discussions without named studies or documentation to back them up. So, when you hear that Las Vegas casino carpets are designed to disorient you, the reality sits somewhere between hype and strategy. The patterns under your feet are absolutely intentional, not just ugly designs, but silent partners in a system built to keep you playing just a little longer than you planned. The Gruen Effect in action, one step at a time.